Welcome back to the Bearfoot Miniatures workshop, where today we're going to be looking at those fine details that will add the realism to our Brecourt Manor board. Now, this is going to be something that if you're doing any form of historical terrain, they're going to be useful to you. Since this board is in France, let's add that piece de resistance. Throughout the last two videos, we've tackled making the landscaping of the board, the bocage berms, we've made trees, and we've made hedges. This video is going to build on them, but is a completely standalone video for adding detail to various environments. So if you want to watch them, they will be in the same playlist as this, and if you don't, let's just crack straight on with the video. The first thing that we're going to do is adding sandbags to our emplacements. Now, from what I understand, the emplacements at Brecourt Manor were made a matter of days before the actual invasion. So we're not dealing with super prepared positions. What we're dealing with is something that's going to be fit for purpose, and then the guns installed that were there. So what we're doing is making sandbags to go round the top of basic trenches. What we're going to do is use 3D printed sandbags, and the reason that I wanted to use these is that they could be individual pieces so that we could have them form to the actual layout of the board rather than working backwards from the shape of the sandbag emplacements and shaping the board around that. I used Epic Basing sandbags, but you can use various ones that you like the look of best. Now, the reason I didn't use flexible sandbags or something like that is that actually I find them too thin even when in scale of the models. I wanted something a bit fuller than you usually get from those flexible sandbags. I printed them out and I sprayed them with trench brown from Colourforge, though any brown will work, because what we're going to do is just hit them from the top facing with Tamiya Deck Tan as a spray. I did this just because a spray's faster, but you could definitely just dry brush the sandbags with any form of creamy khaki colour that comes to your head that meets the criteria of what you think sandbags should look like, but this is what I did. I then hit them with the cheapest, nastiest, most hard-wearing gloss varnish that I possibly could, followed by a matte varnish, and then it was getting onto adhering them to the board in the correct locations. Now, what I wanted to do is match the height of the sandbags to models that were in the bottom of the trench. And we've already been eyeballing the depth of the trenches, so I just went round, I had a model to hand so that I wouldn't build the trenches too high, and I secured the sandbags in place simply using super glue. That's just to give an initial bond, because we're going to be adhering them later more strongly with a dirt mixture. At this point as well, what I wanted to do was bed in the possibility of having camo nets on top of the emplaced guns. So I'm going to start mapping out locations and making right angles to where I can place toothpicks or skewers into a hole. The reason I'm doing it in right angled corners is that they don't put undue stress on the board when we drill them in, and they've got a bit of additional support. So essentially I'm working my way around as a single line of sandbags, and then having a right angle where we can place a skewer in drilled into the location of the board. That's also going to give a key visual indicator of where those skewers are going to be placed to hold up the camo netting in future. The final step on securing these sandbags in is going to be making a mixture of dirt and PVA, and that's the sieved out dirt that we used in the first episode in this Band of Brothers series. And it's literally just dirt from the floor. I've already gone on about how I'm not sponsored by dirt, and yet we're just going to mix that up with PVA rather than PVAing and then applying dirt on top of it to give it more of an adhesive quality. When that dries, it's going to be absolutely rock solid, and we apply that to the leading edge of the sandbags with a brush. As I said, when that dries, that's going to be bonding our board to the sandbags, and it is absolutely rock solid. They are not going anywhere. Super simple, super easy, and good to make emplacements from, building on what we've done before. Now, I did say this video was going to be standalone, and if you were making your own emplacements. You can very easily just make sandbags this way, pile them up on a piece of UPVC or a CD, and then using dirt to blend them into the ground surface, and you've got yourself an emplacement there. Super simple, super easy. Within our build, we've led on to the next step of the detailing of this Brecourt Manor board, and that's to make some camo nets. Now, this is a really messy step, but it is an enjoyable one because there are no right and wrong answers in what we're going to do. What I do is get a container, and I'm going to make a mixture of greens and browns to get the right shade that I wanted for my camo net. There's no real right or wrong answer to this. And even within the video, I'm going to do it wrong first and then just adapt on the fly. So we make a mixture of our paints, and I'm using military shade, acrylic inks, using a bit of cheap acrylic brown within there. And then I'm just going to throw all that together, mix it up, and put some PVA glue into the mixture. Now what that's going to do is bond the paint better to the medical bandage that we're going to be dipping in there. So I grab some medical bandage, and I'm just going to throw that in there, swill it about, and then leave it to dry. We just soak medical bandage in there and leave it to dry. And it's going to stay in that medical bandage and then allow us to reactivate the PVA and apply it to our cocktail sticks that we left space for on the model. The third touch of detail is actually going to be one that isn't obvious for a Brecourt Manor board. Now, on the map that Henry had provided for me is that there's a patch of allotment off to the side next to Brecourt Manor. So we're going to actually make that, and this is something that is really good for any of your games that you want to provide a lived-in effect to. And I'm going to demonstrate this on a smaller scale on a CD to show that how you can have it as scatter terrain, and I'm going to do exactly the same effects on the Brecourt Manor board. So we start off with that great hobby staple, coffee stirrers, and this is just going to provide a framework in which we can then plant our allotment beds into. I'm going to cut lengths that are appropriate to the size of the piece that I'm working on in the case that you can see on screen as CD, and then what I'm going to do is use a hot glue gun to secure those in place. That extra level of detail that when you're far away, the board looks good because you know what it reads as. And when you get closer, there's more visual interest within it to make you study the board more and more. Back to the flashing footage for a second, because I did this in a separate way than I do it on the CDs. And actually, I think the better way is how I've done it on the Brecourt board. So we're going to take a dirt mixture. Again, PVA plus dirt equals a solid aggregate. We're going to fill the internal space of the allotment to bring it to the height of the coffee stirrers that we've applied before. Now you can paint the coffee stirrers before or after this. It's probably a bit easier before. And I just put some Ratling grime to give a dark wood look. It's then time to start adding some veg to our allotment. So the first step that you should do is adding carrots. And what we're going to use for these is just small beads. They'll be in the description below to exactly what I used. But we're just going to use orange beads and glue them down with super glue. And then when that's dried, we're going to put a bit of light green coarse turf on top to be the leaves of the carrot. Now, the reason I'm saying doing the carrots first is that they're the smallest element on the board. Don't be an idiot like me and do it from large to small, because it's then more fiddly to get the carrots in there. The next veg that we're going to add to the board are cabbages, and we're going to do this really quickly and simply by using rose beads. Again, they'll be linked in the description below for exactly what I used. To make handling them easy, I glue them onto a piece of blister pack, and then I'm going to go outside and spray them with a flat neutral green. And for this, I chose Death Rattle Green by Colourforge. And then I'm going to dry brush them with Moot Green, just a brighter green, to bring that colour and vibrancy to them. And that is the making of our cabbages, and we can then just apply them again to the allotments using super glue really easily. Don't worry about the paint coming off them, because what we're going to do is brush the entire thing with PVA glue, and that's going to provide the protective barrier to the models. Next, we're going to make some climbers, and for this I'm going to use matchsticks, and I'm going to super glue them together into a tripod with which we can then grow plants up. I'll paint them like the sides of the allotments with some Ratling grime, Again, any dark brown will work, or even a grey if you want to go for that aged wood look. And we're then going to get into running plants up them. For that, I'm going to use this stringy, flexible green elastic, and that's something that's used in like table displays for fake plants and stuff. I'm going to PVA glue that to this tripod that we've made, and then we can PVA glue all of that down onto our allotments. Really simple couple of steps, and providing some vertical height for our allotments. Really simple couple of steps and starting to provide some vertical height for our allotment. Now the final element we're going to put on our allotments is something to make Calvados from, and we're going to get a raised shrub look on there. Now what I do is I take the matchsticks again and I drill into the base, and I'm going to put one of the matchsticks in there, super glued in. Next to that, I'm going to drill a hole and add a stick from a tree and drill that into a hole on the board. Now that gives us our plant and our support next to it. And what we're going to do is add the foliage to that. And for that, we're going to use Woodland Scenic's clump foliage and hot glue big clumps on either side, smush them together so that they form one cohesive whole of the plant. And just a real simple way of adding that variety to your allotment gardens. And it works on pretty much any board. Having some scatter pieces is great to just have around for the back gardens of houses. And it's a real simple technique that works really well for this Brecourt Manor board. Having added visual interest in specific places of the board, being the trenches and the allotments, what we're going to do next is add visual interest to the wider board. And how we're going to do this is through a number of steps. And how we're going to do that is by adding various shrubs and weeds to the board at large. First up, and how we're going to do this is by PVA gluing tufts and clump foliages at almost random throughout the board. Now I don't want anything too big, I want something that is going to read as a small insignificant plant, but it's going to break up the sea of grass that we currently have across the board. So I have a few out all at the same time, here being gamer's grass thistles, as well as my light green clump foliage. And I'm going to have a pot of PVA glue next to me, and I'm going to apply those across all of the board sections where we've got grass. The next thing to do is, having stuck our trees in that we made in part 2, is to then hot glue down on top of any sections according to the map where we want bushes and hedgerow to be. And this is going to be done with hot glue, and I'm going to put them densely around all of those bocage raised sections. And this is just real simple. I'm putting semi-random colours down, and I'm just considering each hedgerow so that I've not got two of the same colour next to each other, unless I can somehow make them look like a single plant with that bulbous shape. I'm also going to be considering sight lines as I put them down. In the Brecourt Manor action, the hedge that you can see me working on now is where there's multiple MG nests in there covering the gun positions. So it was something that we needed to get in there, so I've just left slight gaps, enough to suggest that someone could push through the hedge or it could be shot through in those positions. While doing that, I wanted to have something that was a bit more freeform and able to fill gaps in the hedgerow. And for that, we're going to be using Green Stuff World's Tall Shrubbery. Now this comes in a packet that you can just tease apart, get a clump, and what I've done is I've cut it down with some scissors and then hot glued it in place. Mainly here I'm going to be using the brown coloured Tall Shrubbery, but I'm also going to be using bits of white, though we're going to save the bulk of the white that I put down actually into a further step. And what we're going to use that for is actually in individual strands, and that's going to represent cow parsley. And this is something that in Northern European landscapes, at least, maybe other places, can't speak for that you see absolutely taking over at this time of year, that the action was fought, but also that I'm recording this. So if you just go out on a walk, you'll see them lining hedgerows everywhere, looking absolutely domineering. So it's a spike of interest that I wanted to get into the board, and how we're going to do that is to utilize individual strands of the tall white shrubbery, and we're going to glue that with tacky glue and have it as individual strands and just push it into the static grass or the bushes where we want it protruding out from. And you can go as far or as sparingly with this as you want. It's something that just adds some nice level of realism. It signifies the time of year that the action was fought in. And also it can signify where I tended to put the cuts through the hedges for people to move through or MGs to fire through. So elements like this can provide visual signifiers to your terrain of where actions can be taken. Finally, for along the hedgerows, what I'm going to do to give that absolute bursting of life look is some longer tufts. For this I like Gamer's Grass. Still, I don't trust the stickiness on the bottom of it. I've had too many experiences where they just fall off. For this I use Gamer's Grass, and I'm going to use PVA rather than relying on the sticky back to them to apply them around the hedges. And the footage of this is all jumbled up, and that's because so that I get a random naturalistic look. As you can see as I work through, there's no particular order that I do any of this. I have everything out and I'm going to apply it in a non-specific order so that I get a more natural randomised effect to what I'm applying in my hedgerows. So in the words of Bob Ross, there are no mistakes in this step, there are just happy accidents. So stick on some music, stick on a documentary, zone out and just start applying these things, whatever comes to hand first. And it really does build up. And it is a step that's a lot of the time more is more rather than less is more, because we want to simulate the abundance of nature and these vastly overgrown French bocage hedgerows. The final step is to add the truck that Winters can be seen sheltering behind in the Band of Brothers series. And that's a Citroen U23 that I printed out, painted with acrylic paints, and it completes the model. Hopefully you've enjoyed this series. Hopefully each one of these videos can have given you inspiration to make your own terrain. If you've liked this video or any of the previous ones, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what I could have improved on, because the channel's new, so we can always learn from things as we go along. And if you want a board, scatter or fixed for yourself, get in contact with me on Instagram. Massive thanks to the Patreon members that make this content possible, and we'll see you on Thursday for the third instalment of our Band of Brothers series, The Attack on Carentan, in a bit. Now, this comes in a packet that you can... Bastard.